I'm Amy Gorin. I'm CEO of Master the Media, and I'm here with Simran Malhotra. She is a lifestyle medicine physician and Master the Media's physician advisor and a Master the Media student. And Katie Hadley, she is an amazing gut health dietitian. She is Master the Media's community manager and a Master the Media graduate. So I'm just going to breeze through these slides just in case you missed anything last night. It's crazy to say, have earned $2 million in brand partnerships since I've been a dietitian, which has been about 10 years. This is my second career. I was a magazine editor in my first career. And I'm just really excited to talk with you about how you can make $50,000 in 6 months or so from just 2 or 3 brand partnerships by making bundles. And that can add up to a six-figure income that's not even your full-time income every single year. So I'm actually just gonna hand it right over to Simran so she can share her story. And a little bit later, I'll talk about mine and then Katie will talk about hers.
Hey guys, thanks for having me, Amy. So like Amy said, my name is Simran. I am a triple board certified physician. So I did my training in internal medicine, and then my specialty was actually hospice and palliative care. And then later I got board certified in lifestyle medicine. And if you were part of the masterclass yesterday, I shared a little bit about my story, but I'll share a little bit more tonight since we have more time. But I really found lifestyle medicine when I became the patient. So when I was 26, right around the time I was starting my palliative care fellowship, I found out I have the BRCA1 genetic mutation. And as a young South Asian, genetic mutation carrier, it's a very lonely, lonely road. And so naturally, I kind of started sharing my story online. That's also when I started finding lifestyle medicine to really empower myself to, use my lifestyle to reduce my risk of cancer. And fast forward post-pandemic, working in palliative care during the pandemic was brutal. I'm married to a critical care physician, and we had 2 little kids at the time. And I was just my burnout was at an ultimate high. Moral distress was really high. One day I was sharing something about a company that I loved on my Instagram, and they reached out to me and they wanted to work together, and they sent me this beautiful contract with a list of deliverables. I didn't even know the word deliverable at that time, but they asked me for all these things. They offered me $2,000, which I thought was amazing because the alternative was I wasn't getting paid for anything. So the fact that they were offering me to get paid for something I honestly would have done for free, I was mind blown. And so I jumped into the contract, I signed it. There was a lot of words I didn't understand. And then I heard Amy on a podcast. The universe sent her to me. And, I jumped in totally uncomfortable because this is something that I never thought as a physician I could actually do or even learn about. And so everything Amy taught me over that year, I was able to go back to that same brand and renegotiate that same contract from a page this long of deliverables down to 6 Instagram videos. And that number went from $2,000 to $14,000. And the game changer was for the first time outside of the hospital system, I actually understood my worth and my value that come from my credentials and my expertise, but also my story and how to educate the brand about that as well. I learned about negotiating, but I learned about what's my name and likeness, what's usage rights, what's pricing, all these things that I had no idea about. So I was mind blown with what I was able to do. And I feel like I'm just at the cusp of really, moving with this and growing with this. And I see so many possibilities. And so the Master of the Media community has just been so instrumental in that. And a lot of physicians ask me, like, why now? Why is this important? And I think one of the things like Amy taught me is like, we're not influencers. So we don't want to be like the people that are on TikTok and Instagram. We are experts with influence. And this is my favorite line. We are the Michael Jordans of medicine. And it's so true, right? And I think I told my husband when he first asked me, why do you want to do this? I told him, I was like, look, we're living in a digital world, and most of our patients, misinformation is at an all-time high. Most of our patients are already getting their information online, and a very small percentage of us healthcare experts are actually in these spaces. And so, one, if we want to combat it, we need to be there, but also so that we can fight our own burnout, we need to be there so we can scale our impact, create out of the box ideas to create more income streams. And then, I think just grow. I think being part of a community like this pushes you to grow. And when you're growing, everything is good, right? You're using your creativity, you're in flow state. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you so much, Simran, for sharing your story. And you guys start putting your questions into the chat box. We're going to breeze through everyone's stories, and then there'll be lots and lots of time for questions. I also just want to mention Simran said she's just getting started. So just getting started with $55,000 in brand partnership income. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So
It's been pretty cool. It's been cool.
Yeah. And I think the part that you were touching on about burnout is also just like when you do this type of work, you get to kind of have this whatever you want to make it day and career. And so that means for me, I get to spend lots and lots of time with my daughter, and Simran gets to spend lots and lots of time with her kids and her puppy and her husband. And so anyway, it's just whatever you want to make it is kind of your oyster. So I'm going to hand it over to Katie to share her story.
Hi, thanks so much for
Hi.
having me. Yeah, so like Amy said, I'm a dietitian. I have a private practice, and I originally joined Master of the Media about 3 years ago. Actually, Amy, this is our anniversary month. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So when I joined Master of the Media, I had zero media experience, zero brand experience. And I was doing my private practice, and there was a couple reasons why I signed up. I actually wasn't like, I didn't even do like social media. Like I wasn't really even excited to be in the media, but I was like, you know what, like financial like stability and like flexibility and like diversifying income streams, like like I'm making this as like a business decision. Spoiler alert, like I love this kind of work, so there's that. But I actually like didn't even, that was not my motivation for joining and kind of getting into this. So yeah, so I had a small private practice at the time, and I also just wanted to kind of prevent burnout. Like I just know so many providers who have burned out like 10 years into their career, and right, like it's just it's a lot to work with six folks. So yeah, so I wanted to really lean into brand partnerships, and I wanted to like go big. So I dove right in along with my private practice that I was trying to still kind of get off the ground. And I used the bundling method. And in my first 6 months in the program, I made about $50,000. So several of my first partnerships were like over 10,000 each, which was really incredible. And it was actually so interesting because like when it happened, I knew at the time that the brand was deciding between me and several other people in the space who were much more experienced in the brand partnership and media world, and they went with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so interesting and surprising. But in the program, like Amy really taught me how to like really, set myself apart. And I just felt so equipped, even though I had so little experience. Like I just felt I I knew what I was getting myself into because the program had really equipped me. So yeah, so I secured those partnerships, and things just really grew. I did all kinds of things. So from, like your testimonials to blog posts, I did a lot of like advising and consulting. I did like video and photo shoots with products. I even ended up doing social media videos. I had like under 1,000 followers at the time, and brands were still paying me to do social media videos, which to Simran's point, it's like, your endorsement, which is worth a lot. But also I did shoots for like their social media and like Instagram ads and things like that. I got into TV, and I like love TV. And now I'm doing like speaking for brands, like lectures and webinars. And so I've kind of like found my sweet spot of the things that I really like to do. And that's like primarily speaking and teaching. And yeah, so some of these brands that I worked with, like some of them were smaller partnerships, but some of them were over a year, 2 years. So definitely like really focused on the relational side. And during that time, it allowed me to actually sort of restructure my private practice. It was really important for me to make services more accessible. So I actually ended up lowering my rates and started accepting health insurance. And I was able to do that because of the money coming in on the brand partnership side. And because of that, my private practice just exploded. And now I have a group practice. And I've been able to really throttle like the partnerships that I take on. So also the number, the scope, and all of that to really kind of fit in with where I'm at with life and with my practice.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Katie. And what Katie did not mention is she, in her first year at Master of the Media, she earned about $90,000. A good handful of those were partnerships we directly connected her with. And this giant number, $170,000, is what she has earned in brand partnerships so far. So it can grow to a really large number. So, and I love that you mentioned working with brands for multiple years. That's my favorite, when the bundle turns into, okay, let's do this in year 1 and this in year 2, and oh, let's do this in year 3. And oh, we need to get rid of our money this year to get more budget. So we'll pay you for all 3 years in year 1. Like that's my favorite version of it. So if you guys just joined, toss your questions into the Q&A. I have just a few more slides to share, and then we're going to open it up to questions. So just a quick recap if you were or weren't there last night for the masterclass. There are 3 steps to earning $50,000, and you can earn that from just 2 or 3 brand partnership bundles. So step 1 is pricing. You have to know what to price your expertise at, because you're not pricing your followers or your time. You're pricing your expertise. As Simran said, we're the Michael Jordans of the world. Michael Jordan is getting paid for his name on a sneaker for, the rest of his life. With him, he's sitting back and not doing anything for that money. So it's his credibility, right? And part number 2 is bundling. So packaging multiple deliverables, what that even means versus just an Instagram post or just a blog post. And then number 3 is closing. So driving those conversations with the brands for them to sign you as an expert and get paid. And we're going to talk about that. So step 1 is pricing. That's the first step to landing that $50,000 in brand partnership bundles. And your expertise is worth a lot. This slide is so important because minimum 1,000, and that's literally true. Like, when people come into the Master of the Media, they're like, oh, I've been offered, $100, $200 for a social media post. I'm not going to tell you not to do something if you want to do it. But the fact is that the brands that offer the same rates to people who are not experts and people who are experts, they're lowballing you. And so when you actually know how to present yourself and connect with brands in the right way and showcase your expertise, that's when you can earn this large number that has nothing to do with your time or your social media following. So the top 3 easiest brand deliverables to land are social media posts that can be on your feed or the brand, so you don't have to have your own account. A blog post, same thing, that can be on your blog or the brand's. You don't have to have your own blog. And the social media posts can pay anywhere from about $1,000 to $7,500. The blog posts can pay about $1,000 to $5,000. My favorite is a testimonial. This is just, 30 to 60 seconds of you talking about why you like a product. It can live on the brand's homepage, or they can use it as advertising on social media. And that can pay anywhere from $1,000 to $14,000. Those numbers are real. Step 2 is bundling those different deliverables into a package that will help the brand reach its goals. The exhausting way to do this is you could do 250 one-off posts that pay $200 each, and that would add up to $50,000. That would take you at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, and you'd be really annoyed and tired. Or you can do these 2 or 3 high-value bundles, work with 2 or 3 brands, really help them meet their goals, really get invested in their messaging, do an awesome job, have them rehire you, and earn $50,000. And so just to give you kind of a case in point, Katie had mentioned her first few partnerships were about $10,000 each. So here's a $10,000 beginner bundle. Let's start from the bottom. You're going to create a blog post that took you about 3 hours to write. That's $3,000. A social media post, again, this doesn't have to be on your own platforms. That might take you at most an hour to create. That's $1,500. A social media story to share that post, that will take you about 10 minutes, and that pays about $500. That is totaling to $10,000. And that did not take very much time. Now, an advanced version of this would be doing a national TV segment for the brand that the brand is going to land for you. So that would be like Good Morning America, the Today Show. That would take you about 5 or 6 hours because there's prep involved, and that pays about $7,000. There's local TV segments that can be in person or virtual. So that would be like whatever the TV station is in your town. And that would take you just about 4 or 5 hours, and that pays about $3,500. And then the brand would be pitching you for all of this. So they would pitch you to do website and magazine interviews, and that each interview would take you about 30 minutes. You'd get paid $900 no matter if it got published or not. You could provide the brand quotes for them to use to pitch you to media. That would take you about 30 minutes, maybe 200 words each. That's $1,000. And then here's the best part. They're going to pay you for every month that they use your name and likeness. So Amy Gorn, MSRDN, my picture, to pitch you to media. And that is $750 a month. And that takes 0 minutes. All told, that's about $31,000. So let me just go back to that. $31,000 for probably like 15 hours of work at most, because you're the expert. So the third step is closing the partnership. Obviously, you have to close it to get that $50,000 in brand partnership bundles. And here's my favorite thing to talk about is, why do brands say yes to these bigger packages? Because I know it sounds kind of too good to be true, but it's not. It's because your credibility gets the brand more sales for their products. So if they pay you $5,000 to do a TV segment, or do a testimonial, that's your endorsement. People are going to see that. They're not going to be able to track those sales back to you like they would with an influencer. It's not like you click a link and buy. It's more like, and someone actually told me this the other day when I was doing a presentation to ACLM, that they use Pendulum Probiotics because they remember hearing a dietitian years ago talk about them. So Pendulum Probiotics, there's something I love. I did a partnership with them. It's a blood glucose control probiotic. Really good if you have a family history of type 2 diabetes. And so she said, I can't even remember who I heard it from. And when you said that you worked with them, that rang the bell that it was you. But she never would have been able to track that otherwise. And so that is the influence that you have. If you give a testimonial, like Katie did a testimonial for Impossible Foods, it lived on their website. Somebody might have stumbled upon that and gone to the grocery store and said, I remember somebody saying I should eat this. I don't remember where I saw it. And so that sale is not trackable, but it's really large. So the brand makes $45,000 in this example. You get paid $5,000. Everyone's happy. When we're closing the brand deal, the biggest thing is you don't want to just say, hey, let me do that a blog post or a testimonial for you. You want to ask the brand their goals. So that means actually getting, connecting with them in a way where you get them on the phone or on a Zoom call. And then, they might say, oh, our goals are to reach healthcare professionals. Our goals are to reach consumers. And then you're choosing the deliverables for the bundle that you're going to pitch them. So it could be all of the above: social media post, blog post, testimonial. It could be other things like a webinar. And then you share your strategic bundle ideas. And we go over this within Master the Media, but just for a nice case in point, here are some of the brand partnerships that we've recently hand delivered to our Master the Media students. And they bundle together different deliverables. So you can see there's several brands here in the $10,000 range, like Mom Cozy, Culturelle, Canopy, several in the $25,000 range, Wild Alaskan Company, Goed, Omega-3s, No Diet Dietitian, several in the $40,000 range, Stonehenge Health, Live Conscious, Success Rice, $50,000, Earth's Best, Califia Farms, Doctor's Best, and then $100,000, Prilosec, commercial, Impossible Foods, Monster Energy. So pretty cool companies. And then Kara's actually here. I saw her log in. So Kara is an amazing doctor and Master the Media coach and Master the Media student. And so here's just kind of a case study where this is a brand partnership opportunity that we shared for Canopy humidifiers. And then Kara got the opportunity. She got many more opportunities, and those added up to $50,000 in brand partnerships for her. So maybe she'll, answer some questions too if she wants and hang around. So I'm going to wrap it up there, open it up for Q&A. Just a reminder, if you want to join Master the Media, we have 2 amazing bonuses open right now where if you enroll in the program and you can scan this QR code to enroll or click the link in the chat, you get a free one-on-one strategy call where we will actually have one of our Master the Media coaches create 5 personalized bundles for you specifically to earn $50,000. And we have a pay in full bonus where you get an extra month in Master the Media. So if you have questions, raise your hand or put them in the chat. I see, oh, and Kara said she signed a $10,000 contract yesterday. Go you. I'm going to just let you talk about that for a second.
Sorry, I'm just getting out of the shower.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah. So I actually posted about this experience in the smaller like Facebook group of those who are part of the program because I was initially a little torn with what to do with this opportunity. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. I was asked by a huge pharma company to essentially be the face of a condition that I live with, but I also take care of those patients. And because it's pharma, I talked with Amy on her podcast about this. There are some limitations in regards to what they can pay because of some regulations, it is what it is. So the hourly rate is actually less than what ideally I would get paid. But I was able to negotiate with them with a little bit of help to rein in. When they initially gave me the contract, it would have had me essentially signing my likeness and rights away in perpetuity, meaning forever. It was kind of like Ariel and the Little Mermaid with Ursula, it was like a boilerplate contract. And that would have really been very problematic if they were to turn around and use that for external advertising and other things, because it could limit my opportunities with other companies in this space. So we were able to rein that way back in, and that kind of made the opportunity, the math a little bit better. But it's also going to put me in front of their entire company in other departments that may not have as strict regulations. So I have some other ideas. And so one of the ways that I've used my Master of the Media training is I run a yearly virtual summit. And I've used the same skills to put together packages for sponsors for the summit. So my big plan is to win them over, have them fall in love with me, with what we do together now, and then rein them in as their medication becomes approved as a big name sponsor for the summit next summer.
I love your plan.
Yes. And or like get in front of the people who will be looking for those commercials or those other opportunities that won't have the same strict regulations that some of the pharma work does.
I think that's perfect. And that's something that like, it's kind of that out of the box thinking of, yeah, you can host an event and get it sponsored and be able to fund the whole event.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, one of the things so I run a direct care practice, and it's an expensive way to practice medicine. And so I have some guilt about how I can't serve everyone in that one-to-one fashion. But one way I'm able to really give back to the community and create, goodness in the world is I host this event, which, spreads awareness. We had like 4,300 people who registered this year. It continues to grow. But we were able to use some of the sponsorship money to pay our speakers an honorarium for their time and their energy. And they were able to use the extra to create free spots in our support group that other folks otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. And so we created 10 free spots this year, and I think it will only grow as we continue to court more sponsors. So, yay.
I love that so much. I think that's a really good segue into the questions that you guys have already submitted. So Alexandra is asking, is it better to have a specialized niche instead of a wide range specifically in social media? So I think this is a great question because Kara's whole story is specifically she is getting these opportunities because she has a niche, Katie and Simran too. Like it's not, and I want to say it's not just your niche, it's also your lived experience. Like Simran's partnership, one of your partnerships is with a nutrition product that you use specifically because of your medical experience. And Kara literally just gave an example of like a sponsorship that has to do with both her medical expertise and her lived experience, and same with Katie. So the very first thing that we have you do in Master the Media is fine tune your niche. And so a lot of people come into the program and say, I already have a niche. My niche is women's health, or my niche is even gut health. But it's like, we help you make that even more specific. So for me, for instance, I'm a plant-based dietitian, but I'm a plant-based dietitian who helps everyone eat more plants, because I myself actually eat fish and dairy and eggs. So you could call that plant-based. You could argue it's not really plant-based. But I want to help, everyone, whether you're a vegan or you're somebody in a family that has plant-based eaters and you just want to help support them. And so that's very different than someone who says, I'm a vegan dietitian and I only work with people who don't eat eggs and don't eat dairy and don't ever eat marshmallows because that has gelatin in it. And, it's just an example. But the more defined you are in your niche, the more you're going to attract the brands that you want to work with. And it sounds scary because you're going to also make it so that, maybe pork isn't the best fit for you if you're a plant-based dietitian. But by turning down some partnerships, you're going to open up the door for a whole lot more. So I actually want to just open it up to the other coaches, the other Master the Media coaches who are here to weigh in on that, because I know you guys have a lot of personal experiences.
Yeah, I can chime in. When I actually started so my private practice is gut health. But I also eat a plant-based diet. And when I first started working with brands, just naturally, most of my partnerships were with like plant-based food companies, and then some like supplement companies. But now all of a sudden, like I'm really leaning more into the gut space, like as I'm becoming more and more picky with my brand partnerships, just because like my time is really limited. I'm really wanting to like lean into that more. And so now all the partnerships I'm doing are just specifically in GI, because that's the area like that I want to speak to more. But also like, because I sort of have like to Amy's point, like, yes, technically my niche is gut health. And in my private practice, like, I don't even really like talk about being vegan. But like, as I naturally connected with these other brands, like, I shared the fact that I am plant-based and I like their products. And so like, you can kind of pull your niche together in like different ways. It doesn't just have to be like the specific thing, that your practice is focused on, or maybe that you're, employed with. Like your niche is kind of who you are, and that can also take different forms and shapes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add to what Katie said. I think you kind of have your niche, and then I think your expert niche, but then you also have your story. And for me, I have felt I'm just on the verge of launching my micro practice, but so much of my micro practice has been shaped around my story and the women I specifically want to work with. And those are busy women in their 30s and 50s who are at high risk of disease because they have a genetic mutation like I do, or they were thrown into surgical menopause like I was after risk reducing surgery. And so within kind of my bigger sphere, I have kind of like these subcategories, but I relate with kind of all of them. So I also have a palliative care aspect of it. And I come at it from a legacy perspective, and the women I work with may also have children, and they may want to create a like generational health for their children. How do they do that? Through role modeling and their lifestyle and their mindset and all that. So those are all the different pieces that we talk about. But I really got to this niche because I walked that path. So I think there's different ways to do it, but to Katie's point, I think it evolves as you do.
Yeah, and like as your life stage goes on, like right now I have a 1-year-old, which is nuts. So like that's what I'm also leaning into. And then, like when you're in perimenopause, menopause, like the caregiving stage, like you go through all these different life stages and they naturally all lend themselves to different types of brand partnerships. Kara says she thinks of it as Venn diagrams. I love that. Sometimes she leans into busy working mom, former food allergy mom, other aspects of her identity. Love it.
But I do think it's very like when you can speak to a specific person, and I've had a lot of brands ask me like, who is your audience or which are the patients you serve? And so when you can get very clear on that audience for them, it helps them kind of get a clearer picture of what a partnership with you could look like and how it could benefit them. So I think the clearer you are, and maybe going into a meeting with a brand, knowing which part of that Venn diagram you're going to zoom into is very helpful.
Thank you for answering.
I love that. Of course, Alexandra. So Linda has a question about how do you reach the partnership you want, or do they reach out? It's both. Sometimes the brand will come to you, which is amazing. I have to say that's a smaller percentage of the time. Not that brands won't come to you, but that the brand that you actually want a partnership with, that has the partnership that looks like the partnership you want, comes to you. Most of the time, to get the partnerships you really, really want, you're going to be reaching out to brands and coming to them, honestly, with ideas that they probably haven't thought of. It's kind of the same thing I used to say when I was a magazine editor, that the only stories I ever bought from freelance writers were the ones that I couldn't think of myself, and that were like, oh my gosh, like, yes, let's do a story on fruits that are, like dark purple and almost black and have different types of antioxidants. And I didn't think of that story idea. So the way that you reach out to the brands is, one, you can use our contact list that we give you in Master the Media. Currently it has 3,800 different brands on it and their contact information, and we're always growing it. But you can also do your own research, and that takes a little bit of time, but it's doable. So I love using LinkedIn. Honestly, the bigger your LinkedIn audience, the more you can do research on LinkedIn of, oh, like, who is the right person at this brand to reach out to, or this commodity board, or this agency that represents a brand. And so you're looking for titles with, if it's in-house at a brand, like communications or public relations, usually a director or manager. If it's an agency, so like Ketchum, for instance, is an agency that represents brands. Usually their titles, the people who work there are either vice president or account supervisor or senior account supervisor. And so you would connect with them. And your hope is always to get the brand on either a phone call or a Zoom call where you can have a live conversation and ask about, oh, what are you guys trying to achieve this year? Do you want to get in front of healthcare professionals or consumers or both? Have you thought about doing a webinar? Have you thought about having an event? Have you thought about being present at FNCE? One of our students actually literally had this conversation with a brand, and they were like, let's get a booth at FNCE. Let's hire you to be our dietitian at FNCE. Here's a $50,000 contract. And so it literally can evolve like that. Our coaches who are here, you guys probably have some stories to share.
I mean, I think one beautiful way to get partnerships is through networking. And I had a couple of cool opportunities through the Master the Media like Facebook group that Amy brought to us, which then led me to becoming, friendly with the PR agent. And then she was like, oh, you're in Bethesda, Maryland. Like, I have a client who's not too far from you, and I think they would really resonate with you. And now, I've been having conversations with that brand for since the beginning of this year, and we're trying to plan out a couple of events in their cooking space this fall. So you just never really know. Sometimes, like kind of what Kara was saying, also like you partner with one brand or with one company, and sometimes you can't see it, but it kind of opens up doors to more opportunities that you can't yet see. And for me, I've had a few, like just the other day, I had I never say no to samples, because I always feel like that's a great way to get your foot in the door with a company. So whenever I have someone reach out on Instagram, and I tag a lot of people that I love, and so whenever they reach out to me and they want to send me samples, I'm like, great. But then I also use that as a segue to get them to book book a discovery call and have a conversation. And one of those cold DMs led to, a $3,500 partnership where it took me literally two hours to write a blog post for them. And I have another, one that's kind of in the works right now. So you just never know. These opportunities come from everywhere. You just kind of keep your eyes open, your ears open.
I love that so much. And I'll make my quasi joke that I don't say yes to every single sample because my husband was like, why do we have 100 boxes in our door entry area every week?
I should go correct what I just said. I don't say yes to every single thing. I say yes to the things that I love. I probably say no to more things now that my email has been sent to so many different listservs. I get so many emails for, random things that I would never, I can't get behind, or I would never, use or support. So I say no to those, but I say yes to the things I love. So if I tag you, that means I like you. That means I want to get on a call with you. So yes, send me samples.
I love it. Donna Marie is asking, she's wondering about the credibility issue with the TikTok space. So this is a great question. I probably honestly have the littlest TikTok presence of our coaches. So I know Simran's on TikTok. I don't know about you guys, Katie and Kara, if you guys are and want to time in.
I'm not super active on TikTok, to be honest. The only reason I have my, following that I do is because of my husband's viral wedding video. Like, he sang me this Bollywood love song and our wedding video went viral. And so every time I post it on TikTok, it goes viral again. So I think the people that follow me there are really just there for the swooning and the love. But yeah, I don't post a whole lot on TikTok. For some reason, I get intimidated every time I go there. I can't get with the platform. So I mostly stick to Instagram, and I'm actually, now the marketing team I'm working with really wants me to lean into LinkedIn because I know what my goals are. And so like Amy said, I think as you grow on LinkedIn, there's just a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, LinkedIn is really underrated for, especially helping brands connect with fellow healthcare professionals. So say you're like the talent on a webinar for a brand. If you just post it on LinkedIn, like getting people to register can be a big deal. One of the exercises we have you do in Master the Media is once you figure out your niche and your what's called an ideal customer avatar. So who is that person you're talking to online? Then you think about, where do they live? Where's their ecosystem? And so honestly, this is why I myself am not really on TikTok, and probably a lot of our coaches aren't either, because my audience is really mostly vibrant on Facebook and Instagram. And that's where I actually have conversations with them. And you'll kind of figure that out. Yours might be TikTok, it might be LinkedIn. Usually it's like one or two different platforms. And you guys can like actually talk if you want to. You don't have to type your question.
Sometimes having the diversity can help. Like, some brands will want you to, have presence on a certain platform. And so I think just having the platform there, and kind of like what Kara said, cross posting, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. So you're not necessarily creating content for TikTok. You're creating it for Instagram, but you're just uploading it to TikTok. And so you're not actively trying to grow, but you will grow just, slowly or slower.
Yeah, Alexandra.
Yeah, so I typed my question, but I'll ask it out loud. So I have two different Instagram accounts. One, it's like Alexandra the Nutritionist, and the other one, it's like Food Finds, where I discover food throughout like Philadelphia. And I'm really excited about the Food Finds one. However, my credential isn't like the real center of it. It's just more of like enjoying food. So like, what are your thoughts on that in terms of landing brand partnerships with the Food Finds, even though the center isn't my credential?
Yeah, I think that's really an interesting question. What are your what's your audience size on each of those accounts?
So with my Alexandra the Nutritionist, it's like 800, and then the Food Finds I just started, but I mean a lot of people have been following me back because I'm leaning kind of like into a food journalism angle as well. So I think people are a little intrigued by that, even though
Yeah.
the following is pretty low. It's only like 30.
Yeah, so there's like a few different strategies you could try here. Like one is you can combine the two accounts, which I don't think you want to do in this case. The other thing I really love leaning into collaborations, even between your own accounts. So this is what I do with my plant-based nutrition account, which honestly I use mostly to get eyeballs on Master the Media these days. And Master the Media is so like not everything that I post on Master the Media gets posted on Plant-Based with Amy and vice versa. But that way, if I want to separate out the audiences and talk about something that isn't really relevant to the other audience, I can. So like, and typically when you're looking at your professional account and on Instagram, really specifically, usually about 25% of your at least of your content is kind of like it should be personal. So like driving people into what's your story. For me right now, like I actually really am overdue on posting about my family and what my daughter's doing and all the cute things, but I do post it in stories. And no matter what I do, that's always my best ranking content because people want to see that human side of you. And so I'm saying that because even on your nutrition account, if you were to post like do a collaboration once a week with your food finds, I think that would help people lean into that human side of you and open up the door for even more brand partnership opportunities.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, you guys, let's just like open up that conversation because like that's how our coaching calls are in Master the Media, where it's not so like formal. Like, I mean, I do make people raise their hands because sometimes we have, a bigger group than this, but you don't have to raise your hand here.
That just makes me think, Alexandra, what you were saying. I really like the idea of your food finds page because it could actually open, if you kind of add you into the picture of that, like Amy was saying, it could open up some pretty interesting opportunities for you. Before I joined Master the Media, I honestly never thought about me showing up as an expert to, the local plant-based restaurant or to the local olive oil. What is it? It's not a winery. What is an olive oilery? I don't know what you call it.
Space.
Olive oil tasting space, but like a lot of these really cool spaces have space for workshops and demos. And, so if you're posting about them, it might actually be a great lead into partnering with local organizations, local restaurants, but also if you take, for example, Chipotle uses Hodo tofu for their sofritas. So if you're posting, I don't know what kind of food you post, but say you're posting your favorite Chipotle bowl and then you tag Hodo tofu, again, that could lead to something. So I think what you're doing is really fun and really cool and could definitely open up some interesting opportunities if you bring your face and story into it.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and just to kind of like touch on that lifestyle aspect, like some of my favorite partnerships have been my most out of the box ones. Like I've worked with Wayfair and got like a whole bunch of free furniture out of it. I worked with this really, really expensive coffee machine that's like $5,000 that I not only got to keep the coffee machine, they also paid me $15,000 to create a recipe book. And so these are the kinds of partnerships that, not every healthcare professional would be reaching out to the brand and pitching, but because that's not the case, it actually makes you a shoe-in for like, right now I'm getting sponsors for my vow renewal that I'm doing this year. Like I have $50,000 in free product coming to my house. My husband's going to kill me, but that's not the point. So like, if you can think it, I always say like, you can make it happen. Katie, do you want to add anything?
I'm just over here like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be going to your
I know. He's like, are you trying to give everyone like $1,000 gift bag? And I was like, yeah,
You're like, yeah,
I guess so.
Like literally exactly.
And I have
You've nailed it, Amy. It's great to hear all this. It's so, a time factor is a concern of mine, and how much diligence does it take to get where you are?
Honestly, I mean, if you have a few hours a week and you really, I think people get into trouble when they are like, this seems too easy. I need to make it harder. I remember I went maybe like a year ago, I asked Katie, like, what led you to be able to be so successful? And she was like, I literally just followed the program and did everything you told me to and put my name in the hat for partnerships. And so if you only have a few hours, like, you could literally spend those few hours on going through the course materials, and you have, like a very long time to do that. You have lifetime access, actually, attending the coaching calls, but then also just, spending a few minutes to put your name in the hat for partnerships. Literally, if you do just that, I think you'd be really successful. And then if you have extra time, you can go through our contact list and actually, pitch 5 to 10 brands, which might take you like 20 or 30 minutes, because we have templates that you can use. But you don't have to do those. Like, you could just do the things that we actually hand deliver to you. And I think you'd run wild with it.
I also, just to build on that, I also, like, so many of us are doing things that we could leverage in different ways. So for example, like if you're already going to Fancy, it's just like knowing how to show up at Fancy in a way that can lead to partnerships, which is a different approach than going for the education and the fun and the samples, which, like, right, you can do all the things, but like knowing how to approach those conversations, like as you're walking the expo floor, and like a little bit of prep can go a really long way. Like, full transparency, I don't know if I've like ever cold emailed a brand. Like, that's just like not what I do. Like, I go to events and I make contacts and I build relationships and then just continue the conversation. Not that you can't cold email, right? You can, but it's like, I'm already going to these events. I enjoy going. Like, why not build real human relationships, right? Like, it's so much more memorable when you actually have face-to-face time. So like, yeah, there's obviously things that you can add onto your plate, and like different like strategies you can utilize, but you can also just build and kind of tweak what you're already doing to leverage it in this specific way.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing.
And I'll add to that, I feel like as healthcare practitioners, we have like this very steep like growth curve where we're like learning, and then we get to practice and we like have this major plateau, and then you have like all the other aspects of the system, and honestly that combination of like no more growth and all the other pressures of the system is honestly what leads to burnout. And so the way I think about this is after you actually finish the course, what you're actually gaining is a skill set, and momentum is always hardest at the beginning, but once you've landed your first brand partnership and you have the skill set, like Katie said, it's like you create these relationships, and then the next time it's easier and easier and easier. And so it just becomes part of like a skill set that you now have. And I think it's really a great way to bring back that creativity and out of the box thinking, and combating burnout that so many of us experience. And Linda, it sounds like you're probably like in a different stage of your career, so you have so much experience that you could bring back to these companies that would be so valuable.
Yeah, the involvement in I'm very involved with the vegetarian practice group of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and there's been a lot of platforms and initiatives that I think I would be very passionate in working with different brands, in which I've always stayed away from brands in my career, which and now I see a need to swing, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also just want to add, I think part of the just the fun and really amazing part of working with brands is the change that you get to help make happen. Like, I have literally worked with brands and like given them, my advice on reformulating their products, and then I walk into a store 3 months later and oh my gosh, like they actually took out the ingredient I recommended taking out because they just they didn't know. They thought that the ingredient was trending and it made sense to add monk fruit to something random, but it didn't make sense, you know? And you also get to like help like in part of helping brands craft their nutrition and health messaging, you get to take a deep dive into their research and really learn it in a really incredible way that then you can translate to your audience and your patients. And I promise you, like no other practitioner is probably going to know like the white paper that a brand wrote and all the fine, you know, the fine details of it. So it just makes you stand out in a really, really, really cool way.
Yeah, and at this point in my career, I've got the audience. I think in a lot of odd ways, it's just pulling it all together.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I always just like, I think the big part is not overthinking it. It's like, what products do you use every day? Like, what do you like? Literally, what kind of coffee do you drink? I just got my favorite coffee brand to sponsor my wedding. Like, how cool is that? But like, you know, what do you use for your toothpaste? What sheets do you sleep on? Like, any of these things could be potential brand partnerships.
Excellent.
Anita.
Hi, I'm so sorry that my video was not like my video was on and you guys probably saw the worst angles of my face. But
That never crossed my mind.
okay. I just have a question. Like, how would part of my hesitancy to like do this program like full on is that I have to work a full-time job basically just to support my family. So and I feel like I wouldn't have and also I'm going through divorce, so I don't have the bandwidth to like start big. But what are some like little steps that I could maybe start, like little seeds that I can start planting that would put me in a good place where I can, be in a better place financially or, like in my personal life where I can actually try to do full on like pursue the media space. But what are like something that I can do like after my 9 to 5 kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I love this question because the reality is this is where most of our Master the Media students are. Like most everyone has either a full-time job or like their own private practice. You know, we have a lot of our dietitians work in hospital systems, like just, full-time grocery store jobs, like lots of different examples. But if you spend just like a little tiny bit of time every day, and it could literally just be documenting your own life. So there's I cannot remember her name. There's this nurse that popped into my Instagram feed, and she works like 24-hour shifts. Like she has no time, right? But she posts herself like sitting down for her break and eating her snack, and what she eats for her snacks like end up going viral, and she gets brand partnerships with like Wonderful Pistachios because that's what she's eating on her snack break. So when I'm kind of like, and I'm in this phase where I don't have a social media team, honest, like except for an assistant who helps me post. And I'm a new mom, and so sometimes I'll just take a picture of dinner and be like, "Hey, USA pulses and wild blueberries and Lundberg rice. Love your ingredients that I made my dinner with." And like sometimes that leads to a partnership. So just those little things can make a really big difference.
Okay, makes sense. I think I can manage something like that.
I'll just say that when you have limited time, I think when you're in that scenario, which again, a lot of us are, I think that's the time when it's so helpful to have like support and guidance. Like when I got into this space, like I don't know if I ever really would have even gotten to where I'm at like 3 years later if I hadn't have like had guidance, because it's like you only have so many hours in a week that you can kind of squeeze things in, right? Like if you have a full-time, all the things, like maybe you have a couple hours a week, and it's like for me, like I don't even know where I would have started. And I think that I would have personally like really just sort of been spinning my wheels because like I it's like you have the same amount of hours, but what you do in those hours is what's really important. So I don't know, for me, it's like that whole idea of like find someone who's doing what you want to be doing and like follow in their footsteps. And for me, that's what Master of the Media was. Cause like I would have those same 5 hours that I spent like doing the coursework to like get all those partnerships. Like I have no idea what I would have been doing during those 5 hours. I would have been like doing a random social post and like maybe sending a random cold email versus like it was like really focused and streamlined. And it was like, all right, here's all the educational stuff. Now I can like learn about it. And I was like listening in the car or like while I was working out, just like kind of like absorbing all the information from the program. And then like when I had the time like dedicated, it was like, okay, here we go. I know what I'm doing. I'm just like executing.
That's a good point. Sometimes that's true. If you have limited time, then you might as well have the most like structure with that time, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, like structure is such a good word. Like I feel like we're all so type A, like being in this space. Like the program is so like, okay, step 1, do this, step 2, do this. And like Amy's like joke about like I said that like I just followed the program. Like I did, but like that's like the thing, right? It's just like trusting the process, like staying, sticking with it, like doing the practice stuff so that you do build confidence to execute it. And yeah, really just making the most of your time and energy.
Yeah. Thank you.
I also think I'll add on to that is that it's the power of the peer group too, right? Like you're surrounded in this community by everyone who's doing something very similar and has similar goals. Whereas I think, as I said before, like there's only a very small percentage of healthcare professionals who are actually in the media, whether it be like news media or social media or any sorts of media. And so it can be a lonely road to do it alone. And one of the things I was telling, I did a strategy call with one of the new students who just joined today. And what I was telling her is even from when I joined 2 years ago, Amy is like, she's always over delivering. And she follows a process I don't know if she knows about it, but it's CANI, constant and never ending improvement. And she's just constantly adding, like literally, like she probably did something to the course yesterday. Like she's constantly adding and improving the course material. And I like compared to when I started 2 years ago, now it's literally to the point where yes, there's a brand list where you can get contacts, but also the bundle worksheets that she gives you where it's just plug and play and you have all the templates. Everything's plug and play. And so it just really accelerates not just your progress, but also your momentum. So kind of going back to what Katie was saying, you're not sitting there spinning your wheels of what to write, how to write, who to reach, and like all of that. It's just kind of all the pieces of the puzzle are there for you and you just have to like attach them.
That's a really good point of like having a base foundation. It's like when you go to like write something and you're like staring at a blank paper and you're like, oh my God. It's like so easy to just like avoid it versus you're like, okay, like I have a starting place. Like I'm sort of polishing, I'm editing versus like starting from nothing. There's like nothing more intimidating than trying to start something from scratch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I literally take the templates that I use for myself. I mean, I made them prettier, and I give them to you guys. Like there's nothing that I don't share, which I think and everyone in our community is the same way. So if you need, help with like, hey, I'm doing a TV segment for a brand and I need an extra set of hands to film some B-roll for me, like who lives within my, an hour from me. Like I bet you anything someone will volunteer to help you. I'm always a little jealous, like at Fancy and Expo West of like Katie always like organizes everyone to stay together in an Airbnb and like save money and also hang out. And I'm like, I want to be one of my own students.
That sounds nice.
Also, like we have had an insane number of wins lately. Like, and I think that really is because of like all the templates that are in Master the Media now. Like you guys have, I don't know if you've been paying attention to like our Instagram feed, but I think almost every other day we're sharing someone in Master the Media who's earned like $30,000, $50,000, landed a new partnership. And that literally is because of the templates, but also because of all of the connections that we have with brands. Like they know that they can come to us and get a really amazing list of media trained experts to work with. And so I've had brands tell me that they only want to work with Master the Media experts because they don't have time to teach other people how to work with brands. And so that really makes a big difference too.
So with the program, I guess the big question is, how does the program work, Amy?
Yeah, that is a great question. So when you enroll, you get a bunch of emails that are basically like sending you all the things that you need. One is going to be your Thinkific login, which is where we house all of our educational material that you get lifetime access to. And that's what Simran was mentioning, that I'm constantly updating. You're also going to get immediate access to our Facebook community, which is where so pretty much we have daily coaching that happens within the Facebook community. You can ask any question. You can say, can someone give me some feedback on this pitch I'm writing? What does this contract term mean before I sign this brand partnership? How does this pricing look? So that's every day. And that's also where we post our brand partnership opportunities. And it's not a competition for those. We just say, hey, whoever's interested in this opportunity, put your name in the hat. We'll leave it open for usually a week. Then we send every single person to the brand. And what happens is a lot of times brands will want to work with a few experts at once, and then they'll hold on to your name and maybe reach out a few months later for the other people they didn't reach out to the first time. From there, we have coaching calls every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday is our advanced call, but even if you're beginning, I recommend attending just to kind of listen to what other people are asking. A lot of really good ideas stem from those calls. And then Thursday is what we call our foundation call, where you can ask like any question about anything that's kind of like more of a beginner type question, like, niching, or how do you start a website, or, what should you post on Instagram, or how to post on Instagram stories, things like that.
What time is the call?
Yeah, so Tuesday it's 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thursday it's 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't attend live, we have a sheet where you can add your question, and then we post the recording the same day with a timestamp, so you can actually listen to someone answer your question. I mean, someone being me, or Katie, or Melissa, who host these calls. And then we also have, within each of the 13 modules, 12 of those modules have worksheets. And so you submit those worksheets, and then you get a subject matter expert. For instance, Alicia, who is our Emmy Award-winning TV expert. She will review your pitch to a producer before you send it. She'll review your on-camera presence and give you feedback on things like, don't talk with your hands so much and don't blink a million times. Then we also have certification. Once you complete all of those worksheets, you can get the Master of the Media certification that you can put in anywhere you want, like on your email, and that says to the world that we media trained you, and you know how to work with brands. How else am I forgetting? Simran, Katie, Kara. Anything else that I forgot? I think that's pretty much mostly it.
Very comprehensive.
I'm sure there are probably like 25 other things she didn't say because there's like so much, but that's
Do you have an outline somewhere written, or is it just verbal?
It's so on our sales page, which I think Lisa put into the chat, there's like a short list of kind of the highlights. I had started off including every bell and whistle, and I was like, this is overwhelming to see a list of like 40 things. So I distilled it down to about, I think, 10. But basically we're always just adding, we give like milestone awards. Like, we love to celebrate achievements. So whenever you land your first brand partnership or your first 5,000, we just mail you a fun prize. We're acknowledging everyone who has landed brand partnerships within our program at Fency. We have our Fency event where we connect you with brands. And this year, just because I love hanging out with our students so much, I'm probably hosting 3 events to our exclusive to our students, just to get them more networking time with brands. So it's just really like the community aspect is really incredible. Like, I'm actually friends with our students and coaches. Like, every Master of the Media coach who's here tonight, like, I would call my friend in real life.
I might have missed it because I hopped out for a second. So would you say the course is more about, I didn't interrupt something, did I? I just kind of
No. Not
Okay.
at all.
Um, So is the course more about teaching myself like how to be better in the media and how to represent myself and how to post consistently? Or is it like, oh, we're just gonna meet you where you're already at and we're gonna land some brand partnerships?
So that's a really good question. So it used to be, and literally we're called Master the Media. So one would think we spend a huge amount of time teaching you media, and it is a big part of the coursework. Um, but things have changed in the landscape of media and brand partnerships. And so we don't put as much emphasis on the media. We still teach you how to do it and we help you do it. And it's a nice accelerator to working with brands, but it's not a precursor. And so I say that because we're not like, I would say we're not a program that's like, here's how you do a media interview. I mean, we do literally tell you how to do that. Like, here's how to post on social media. We're telling you more so, here's how to use those things to make yourself more attractive to brands to land bigger and better and more relevant brand partnerships. And so everything comes back to the brand partnership and the income and the growing your own personal brand side. And so media and social media, they're tools that help you do that, but it's not like, hey, be a TikTok personality, because I have to say, I honestly don't love social media. I oftentimes, there's days where I strongly dislike it. I know Simran actually likes it. Um, but like, I love, having a podcast. And so we help you kind of like figure out what you enjoy doing and honestly how to monetize anything, like how to monetize your podcast, how to monetize an event that you're having, how to monetize a wedding, literally anything. I'll let our coaches maybe jump in too.
Yeah, I think so often people hear the term media, they think social media, but that can also be traditional media and showing up in the media in other ways, right? And using media. So I would say, like, kind of think about media more broadly in terms of just
Mhm.
like we're all sort of connected through the media, but that can be TV, that can be social, that can be like websites, right? Like blogs, like those are all like forms of media, right? Speaking can be webinars, which is also media. So like, yeah, I would say like think about it more broadly. Like I still don't even really use like my social media to do like not even really active on there. So you don't have to use that if you don't want to. But it kind of helps you like explore all the different things. Like the program helps you explore all the different ways that you can work with brands and use media. And then you can kind of like lean into what you like. So I think it's valuable to kind of like as you're going through the program, like watch all the different videos on like everything you can do and kind of learn about it and like do some experiments and try some different things. And then you'll kind of like find like what it is that you really want to do and can lean into that even more and dive deeper into that even more.
Absolutely. Okay. And then are you guys like how I know you guys do meetings, like how often do the coaches like meet with like the students? Because one thing I really struggle with is like the accountability aspect.
Yeah, so we have every week we have two small group coaching calls. So I'd say depending on which call it is and the time of year, we have anywhere from like 8 to 30 people show up for a call. It's always a very nice, good number. And so I run the Tuesday calls. Katie and Melissa take turns. Melissa is one of our other instructors who's not here tonight. Take turns running the Thursday call, and then we actually have another call once a month, the second Friday of every month at 3:30 Eastern time for anyone who's not a nutrition professional. Just because Master the Media started as helping dietitians, and I'd say now we have like 50% of our audience is our members are like doctors and nurse practitioners. But I just like to give a little bit extra support to those people. And so myself and Kara and Simran actually rotate doing those calls. They're really a lot of fun. And then also you get daily coaching in the Facebook group. So we literally have 7 coaches in the Facebook group every single day, jumping in with like different perspectives on your answers and on your questions, and other students will also chime in. And it's really, it's just, yeah. So there's tons and tons of support actually.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm trying to understand the layout of how are you having a weekly program with tasks to do, or I'm a little confused.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to actually share my screen, and that will, I think, help. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 things. One is where our educational material lives. if this logs me in, it doesn't take a million years. So maybe I'll show you Facebook first. Oh, here we go. So let me show you the student view. So this is our educational platform. So you have at each section, like here's the intro section, and then you start actually with brand partnership school. So you like jump into just understanding the baselines of how to work with brands and connect with brands. And then we have so brand partnership school is part 1 of the 50K upsell strategy. And then we have, this is my favorite thing I've ever made, the 50K bundling blueprint. So that's part 2 of the 50K upsell strategy. And this is where all of those templates that we were talking about live.
That was an Instagram follow.
Let me just dig them up. So here, for instance,
I'm just going to walk you through that.
I wish it didn't start autoplaying. Let me just. So here, for instance, are those bundles that we were talking about. So like if you had a conversation with a brand and they're like, hey, can you pitch us a partnership idea? Then here are literally 12 bundles that I've made for you that you could just input you make a copy of this and like input your own information. Wait, this is the pricing sheet. You would input your information and like change the deliverables to meet the goal of the brand. But like here's, you give like package A, package B, package C. So like this is $5,000. This is $10,000 and this is $15,000. And the way we teach it is you give the brand 2 or 3 different options to kind of let them choose so that you get that bigger bundle. And then you have all of your connection templates in here too, so that you can literally plug your information into these to pitch, to like connect with the brand. So there's like 50 templates in the program. Then from there, you go through, this is all of the coaching call links. So there's 13 modules. And so let me just open up module 1. So the modules themselves have videos and transcripts, and then they each have a worksheet. Let me just make this so it actually previews. So you actually submit this worksheet. We have a Google Sheet where you submit it. One of our instructors within a week will create a Loom video that's just for you and give you feedback, and then you can revise it and continue with the feedback until you're happy with it. Like same thing happens with your media kit. And so you go through each of the modules to do that. And every worksheet that you do has a practical aspect. So like you're creating your niche, you're sending a pitch to a TV station, you're sending a pitch to an online outlet, you're making a media kit and having our professional designer help you with it, you're creating your own price sheet. And then we have all of these bonus resources. I'm not going to go through all of them, but
yeah, I'm getting it.
And then let me share our Facebook group just to show you the inside look on that. So wait, I'm signed in as not myself. Okay. So this is our private student only group. And basically you can see that there's, student posts and introductions. This is someone asking for pricing feedback on a package that she's pitching to a brand. And so Katie responded to her like the same day. This is someone asking like, how should I proceed with this? So we're giving and we're answering these questions. We always promise within 24 hours, but we're always answering them the same day. And then this is where we post the brand partnership opportunities. And you can see like this one, there's been 12 people who submitted themselves, and we'll submit all of these to the brand. And we do all of that connecting for you. And so anyway, the Facebook group is just, it's a really good place just to get really fast feedback on something or to ask opinions, or there was I'm trying to find Gabby's post. One of our students had like her first TV segment and she posted it and everyone watched it, but I don't know where it went. There's another brand partnership opportunity. So that's kind of like the quick and dirty behind the scenes look. But yeah.
Excellent. It gave me a good brief overview in how many minutes? Boy, you know how to knock it down. Love it.
I know that we're technically over time. Is there any other burning question that you want us to answer before we sign off? Anyone? Or any burning thoughts that Katie or Simran or Kara want to share?
I wrote in the chat, but I am a bit of a course and professional development junkie. And I don't want to say how much I've spent because my husband's sitting next to me in the bedroom. But Amy has done an excellent job with being very organized. And I think, obviously I've more than made my investment back and have committed time and energy to helping contribute to the program because I have found it to be that incredibly valuable. So, I think if you show up and even do a portion of the work, like she has it laid out to really help people ensure their own success. Yay, go Amy.
Thank you.
Totally second everything Kara said.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I would just kind of mention is that the program is really set up to kind of meet you where you're at, no matter where you are. So we have people who join the program, maybe like me, who like you have no media or brand experience at all. We have people who join who are even like kind of a step before that. Like they don't even have like a business entity. They don't like have a website. They don't have any of that, which is like also okay. And then we also have people who join the program who are actually quite experienced with partnerships, or who are sort of already an influencer, or if someone in the program who I think has, who just joined, who's, been on TV like 50 times already and like does all these huge speaking events. Like no matter kind of where you are in your journey, it's sort of built to meet you where you're at. And also like the community is there again, like to support you. And like you're never, I think what's really great about it is like you're never behind. Like it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, right? Like you can kind of jump in wherever you're at, use the resources that are available. And, if things shift for you, like maybe you have more time or less time, or suddenly you have a partnership all into your lap, like you can always kind of like use the program and use the community to help support you where you're at to move forward into the next step.
Yeah, and thank you guys. I will also add, like, we have you try everything, not to have you do everything, just to have you experience, writing an article or writing a pitch to write an article, doing media interviews, like writing a pitch to go on TV, just because I myself was once upon a time very surprised at the fact that I love TV. And like now literally because of that, I have a podcast. And so and Katie, I think, is in the same boat, and she had like a monthly TV segment. And so you just never know what path is going to lead to what. Like for me, that led to really awesome speaking engagements where I got to talk to like dream audiences and also earn like $15,000 for talking for 7 minutes on stage. So like crazy things, not even crazy, just awesome things.
Things you don't think about are possible, but I think when you're in the community and you see other people doing it and talking about it, it kind of opens your world to what's possible for you too. And I actually think that's the magic of this whole program is the community. So much so that even after the 6 month program, so many people, I mean, we were all students, right? But even after the program, so many students continue on in the program. So that kind of speaks volumes.
We make it like really, really easy for you to stay. We're always giving really good deals because I love our students so much and I never want them to leave. So we literally have people who are with us for like 2 or 3 or even more years. But anyway, I know it's 8:20 on a Thursday night, so I'll let everyone get to their bedtime routines. But I cannot wait to work with you guys and Master the Media. And just a reminder that our bonuses will disappear on Wednesday. So that's the one-on-one 50K strategy call, which is honestly incredible. You get your own personalized bonuses, bundles made by a Master the Media coach. And then the painful bonus, which is it gives you 7 months in Master the Media instead of 6. So I'll let everyone have a great night. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having us. Have a good night.
Good night.